I started volunteering because I decided I wanted to open a place.
What was the trigger that finally said, I'm ready? Now is the time.
I don't know that I'm ready now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Hot Break Craft Beercast. We are here on site at Simple Machine Brewing with Marshall. We're going to sit down and talk about a number of things today. We're excited to get into it. Before we do introductions, let's get to the intro.
Completely unscripted, delightfully unfiltered, and 100% fun. Sit back, relax, and get ready to have a great time as they bring you the latest in beer news, Ben M brewing updates, and general shenanigans. And now, your hosts, the famed Brew Crew.
All right, guys, as I mentioned, we are here on site at Simple Machine Brewing. As with me, as always, is the famed Brew Crew. We've got JB from Vexet who's joining us. JB, always a pleasure to have you on with us. We appreciate your time and things. As always, of course, Christy, my partner in crime.
Hello.
And, of course, as I mentioned before, or teased earlier, we have Marshall from Simple Machine on with us. And
Hello.
we're very excited that he was kind enough to invite us into his world. We've actually had quite a busy morning. It's been a lot of fun. We wanted to come in and take a look at your canning machine and look how that thing operates. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of see how things operate. And it's a cool sneak peek behind the scenes of kind of the brewery operation and really how much love and work goes into everything that you guys do.
Well, thanks for being here.
Oh, of course. No, definitely love it. And the beers, I have to say.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. I have no complaints. No, for sure. This is the white IPA that you guys were canning today.
Yeah.
And so this is actually fresh off the line. So were these like from rejected cans or was this?
No.
'Cause I'm okay either
The line
way.
will fill a cup. So
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. So
It's
these
right
are
out of the
like
break
these are like
tank, yeah.
fresh off the line.
It's colder than we normally serve it to. Break
Yeah.
tanks, yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely delicious. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Super crisp.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Very good. Christy, what is it you're having? You got
The
it was the IPA.
it's the I was the American Pale Ale or the
American IPA, yeah.
yeah,
It's
the
actually
West
called,
Coast.
It's called I Don't Know. I was
I Don't
hoping you
Know.
were going to say, I don't know. Like, you're right.
I totally messed that up. I totally messed that up. It's so good.
No, so my friend Aaron Taylor, the gentleman helping us package from 1227 Taproom.
Yeah.
If you're ever in a spot and you ask him, hey, what beer should I get? He's like, I don't know. So we made a beer.
That's funny.
That's awesome. I don't know.
If you ask him any question, honestly, even if he knows the answer, first thing out of his mouth is,
I don't know.
But it's probably this, and he'll tell you the right answer.
Yeah. That's a good beer, though. But everything's been great that we've had so far. So it's been awesome. So I want to kind of start off just, you guys opened up, did a soft opening in what was it, 2019?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
The Monday before Thanksgiving
Yeah.
was our first official
kind
day.
of soft opening and things. And
Yeah.
that was
We didn't have any of our own beer at the time. It was a couple collabs and then some other state beer that we brought in.
oh wow. So when did you start actually putting your stuff on tap?
Like
Was that
mid-December, we put our
mid-December?
first two on.
So you did a soft opening, kind of get the doors open, get the people aware and in, and
Yeah.
that's kind of neat that you were able to at least some of the local beers that were in for the soft opening.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of friends in the industry, and we were able to either buy them direct or get them to Crescent. So
That's cool.
yeah, it was nice. We've always wanted to support,
So then you guys kind of continued on, and your official opening you said was in December. Was that was still in 2019 then?
Yeah. So January of 20 was our grand opening.
Okay.
And we had we released 2 extra beers for that.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. And,
Yeah.
and another collab. And then we were shut down in March.
Yes, I know. And then the world shut down, and but I thought you mentioned that that it was difficult when that whole thing shut down, but you guys stayed pretty busy.
Yeah.
It sounded like.
Yeah, I mean, my life didn't change much because I still had to come in and brew.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, I think everyone has a story of what that felt like, and sitting in this tap room completely empty for a couple days. There was just like, what the fuck did I do? You'd pick up a stool and there was dust from where I was sitting on the bar.
Wow.
Crazy.
But we were able to turn on a dime and switch to a package model despite being on such a small system. So we grew that year.
Yeah.
And there was especially during the first shutdown, there was a lot of push from the community to support local.
Yes.
So
which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we made our POS provider arrived. It took them about a week and a half before they had an online ordering thing set up. So we'd come in the morning and all the tickets have printed out So then we made signs and we had pull-up spots because people didn't want to come inside. You
Yeah.
could still come in and get packaged to go.
Well, you really have to pivot in a hurry to
Yeah.
to change the model from what you've been planning the whole time to this unexpected thing. And then
Yeah.
it's-
I mean, you open a small business and you're planning on selling everything over the counter at draft margin, which is slightly better than packaged.
yeah,
And then you have to put any package out you can. You
Yeah.
know? So we bought 12-ounce bottles. Got a couple pallets pretty cheap from Phoenix, where I was brewing previously. We got bombers, we had crowlers, growlers, and canning. And then we started canning.
so you started canning at that point. So
Yeah.
most of the stuff that was coming out wasn't in bottles or cans. kind of
For
a
a while, well,
mix.
at first it was bottles.
It was?
'Cause the canning machine wasn't quite ready until like the end of April. So the first month or so.
So what
was
were you guys
shut down.
using to bottle? Just
We have a 4-head counter pressure
kind
bottle
of pressure. Okay.
filler, made by the same guy who built the canning
Did the
line.
cano. Okay.
He's done a lot of work for us. Like he builds yeast springs, and I buy my chemicals through him.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we bought blank white 6-pack bottle carriers and bought stamps. So we were just stamping the
Stamping
side,
the
Simple
carriers.
Machine, and we
Wow.
were selling like Day Crusher and Camper in 6-pack bottles.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
That's crazy.
We were delivering after shift. We would deliver on our way home, because there wasn't laws yet saying
That you
couldn't.
can't.
Yeah.
Right.
So just to
Well, and everything kind of got relaxed a little bit during that time period too. As
Really
far
did,
as-
yeah.
Which was
Could get your beer to go.
yeah, yeah.
slap a lid
I
on
think
it.
we talked about it off camera too, but do you think that with the pandemic and everyone kind of being stuck at home, that helped with your sales too? Because I feel like
Yeah.
people were definitely in kind of a we don't know what's going to happen mode, and we have nothing to do, so let's just go home and let's just stay home and drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I guess I drank more.
I think we all.
I
I think everybody
we all
did.
But yeah, like the shop next door, they opened up right before we did,
Yeah.
and they started booming because people were stuck at home.
Yeah.
For anyone watching and listening, they
Yeah.
do refurbishing furniture, and they sell like these really cool pieces.
Yeah, they're called.
Say yes to the dresser.
Say yes to the
Yeah.
dress. Yes. So that
Yeah.
was really cute.
They've been our neighbors the whole time we've been here.
Yeah.
Actually, I have like 4 pieces in my house that
From
I've
them.
had them redo.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
neat.
It's pretty cool. But everyone was stuck at home drinking
Yeah.
and trying to improve their spaces, so they were booming.
They were booming.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a good time for her to open up too.
Yeah, that's a crazy pivot that whole time. What was when you were designing the let me back a little bit before that. So your experience kind of in the industry. So you started out in production, or what was your first foray into the brewing industry?
Well, I was a home brewer.
You were. Yeah.
And I was working in a corporate job that I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, the job I had right before I left the industry, I had 6 paid weeks vacation. And I knew I wanted to open a brewery eventually, but I didn't want to do it without any experience. So I started using my vacation time to go volunteer at breweries, one particular in Borderlands and Tucson. They were the only ones that would let me, really.
Yeah.
So I got some of that experience doing that, enough to where a local brewery called Dubina, that wasn't even a year old,
Dubina. Yep.
needed a full-time brewer. And I had met them before they opened, so that they asked if I was interested. And I was single at the time. I had a little bit of money saved up, and I took the job with no benefits, no vacation, third of the pay, and I never looked back.
Going towards the dream. I mean,
Yeah, it was a leap. It was a leap.
Yeah.
So I brewed there. I was there for their 1-year anniversary. I brewed their first lager, their Czech lager. Grandpa's Pills is what they called it.
Yeah.
I met my wife worked for them too. Her family knows the Dubinas, so that's where I first met her. So I was brewing there. Borderlands needed a salesperson, so I took that job.
Okay.
So I covered the whole state for their distribution. At the time they were on 2 different distributors, so I got a really good experience to dealing with buyers, dealing with accounts, dealing with all the ins and outs and frustrations of working with distributors. So it was just another part of the 3-tier that I got to work in.
Yeah.
My corporate job prior was sales too.
Oh,
it was
okay.
natural organic food sales.
Oh, okay.
But I was managing a team. I wasn't. At one point, I was the boots on the ground, but I kind of took that and managed the sales teams for the distributors, and that helped grow us
Okay.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So then I was doing that, and Helton Brewing Company needed another brewer. They started contract brewing the Mother Road beers.
Okay.
So they got a lot busier, and they brought in some new 30-barrel tanks, and he
Wow.
needed another brewer.
Yeah.
So I left Borderlands and went and brewed at Helton just after they were just barely a year old when I started brewing there. And I learned a lot. A lot of the things that we implicate now, the way that we operate, I learned from Brian Helton. Solid dude, real solid dude.
And how big of a, you said there were how many barrel systems? The kind of.
They were actually on a system that's very similar to mine now.
Okay.
It was like 15 hectoliter, but it was an old JV Northwest system that came out of Rock Bottom.
Wow.
And the system that we have now is came out of the Rock Bottom in Long Beach, but it was originally commissioned in 1996.
Okay.
So it's got some miles on it, but it's like nostalgic.
Yeah.
For me to have it. And when I
Yeah.
bought it, I sent a picture to Brian, told him where it was from, and he used to be like the regional guy for Rock Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I brewed on that system.
Yeah.
He's like, I've trained people on that.
I would
system.
imagine the jump from going Dubina to, is it Helton?
Yeah.
Yeah, was a vastly different brewing
Um,
experience. Just from a size standpoint, from an operation. I mean,
So let me back up a little. At Dubina, we started on a 3-barrel system
Mm-hmm.
that I bought because I was there when Dubina bought the original 7-barrel system from Wilderness,
okay.
which was true like Frankenbrew
Yeah.
dairy equipment that
Yeah.
like they
Frankenbrew,
made
yeah.
the kettle bigger by cutting the top and welding a new band in and welding the top back on. Like, it wasn't pretty. It looked like a Russian spaceship. But I bought that 3-barrel and I kept it in storage, and that's the system we opened on here, and I ran it for 3 years.
Wow.
It still had Jared Dubina named the tanks, and there was still the label
Yeah.
on the
Wow.
mash tun that he put on it. And I just sold it to Fire and Fury. So they went from a 1-barrel to a 3-barrel.
Oh, they upgraded
No
their system. Good
way.
for
That's
them.
pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah, so I've known Mikey since I worked at Helton.
okay.
Mikey Blue Eyes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Because he wanted to open up then, and Brian was kind of consulting for him. Ultimately, he landed in Joe's Grotto,
Mhm.
which is cool because when I was younger, my band used to play there.
Oh, really?
Oh,
There's
that's
so much
So-
history there too. That's
Yeah.
so crazy.
It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
that's
Yeah.
a little. That's a little spoiler. You used to be in a band.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I'm just kind of getting back into it now too. So
Nice.
for fun, with the old dudes that I used to play with.
Yeah.
'Cause
So what you're
I'm old
saying-
now too.
There's a reunion tour expected at
Yeah.
Fire and Fury at the old Joe's Grotto.
The old stomping ground.
That'd be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually playing with a new drummer tonight. I haven't met him yet, but my bass player has. His name's Marshall, so I got to figure out his middle name because I'm not going to call him that. And if it works out and he hears this, Marshall, I'm not calling you.
Yeah.
Change your name.
Yeah.
It's what I'm hearing.
So yeah, I left. No, I'm sorry. I left Borderlands to go mobile canning first,
Okay.
and I ran a mobile canning line for a couple years for Mobile West. They were based out of San Diego. We opened a shop here, and I was running that shop. But we covered San Diego, Arizona, and Vegas was the territory that our canning line would go on.
Is that so? You would cover that whole area, or you
Yeah.
have a smaller?
Yeah, so we were going to Vegas like once or twice a
Wow.
month. 3 dudes piled into an Isuzu box truck.
Wow.
Because we go up and we'd run for Craft House and Big Dogs. Those were the 2 accounts.
Was
we
that
were
like on a
running.
rotating schedule where you had booked out? You were going to.
They would
here,
they
and
would
then here,
schedule
and then here? Okay.
because they have to have whatever package ready.
Yeah.
So they'd schedule out when they need us to be here.
And you guys show up in a box truck and.
And unload a canning line and cans sometimes. And they had all their own, but sometimes the brewery would need a half pallet of brights or whatever. So
Bring
we
some
them
extras
along.
with you just to be
Yeah.
prepared and stuff. Wow.
That's really cool. I didn't know that was an industry.
Yeah.
Mobile canning, yeah. A lot of breweries they don't have the space or can't invest in a canning line, and so
Right.
it's a good viable option for them to.
It's
to
an
get
option.
the product
It's
out.
an option.
Yeah.
In doing that, I met a lot of cool people, and I learned a lot about packaging, which ended up being pretty useful.
Well, even just talking to you with this, because I've like keg beer, bottling frustrates me. I have a counter pressure filler, and that
Yeah.
thing foams like a Dickens. But just talking to you about some of the different carbonation levels and how you can increase the head pressure, and I'm just like, and like some of the counterintuitive stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Yeah, there's a lot
would
to
have
it.
thought of that.
There's a
So I'm
lot
like,
to
I need to try that, and
Yeah.
it's interesting the experience that you have with that, and just the technical knowledge that I find that fascinating. Like, oh, I got to pick your brain.
Please,
so
yeah,
cool.
anytime.
So cool.
But when COVID happened, it instantly occurred to me that I was so glad that I lacked the confidence to just open a brewery and that I wanted to work in the industry first.
Yeah.
Because I have had to call on all of that, and I haven't. There's I'm learning every day. There's always going to be new stuff that we need to figure out, and my team figures out. And but I do have a pretty good base to lean on.
A lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but there's a lot of home brewers or brewers that open up that the home brewers and like I can open a brewery and they don't have the industry experience. And I've heard a lot.
I mean, you can still make it.
You can, but I've heard a lot that you really having the industry experience really saves you a lot of headaches and can really help you get to that success a little bit faster. Or set down the right road.
Owning a small business is always going to be a headache. But it helps.
But brewing is a very capital intensive.
Yeah.
Hobby.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have seen my own brew setup before I opened a brewery.
I gotta ask. What did you have?
Well, I was just on a 15-gallon setup, but my dining area and a whole room in the house were dedicated to it. I had 3 chest freezers. One would hold 7 kegs, and it was for serving.
Yeah.
7 slims.
Yeah.
And then I had one for lager fermentation, one for ale fermentation. We would host parties just to empty kegs.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
You'd be able to fit through the door if you had to drink all that beer. I mean, yeah.
So and that was I was doing that before I had mentally committed to opening a brewery. So I hadn't even considered it yet.
It was just a hobby. It was just something.
Yeah,
that
and
you
every
really
time
passionate about.
I was adding something or testing something, and it was. I've always liked science, but I just fell for it.
Right. Yeah, the organic chemistry of it is, and I don't have, like they do water profiles and all that. That's somewhat beyond me, but I'm still fascinated by how that stuff works and how everything interacts.
Yeah.
You know, from the hops to the yeast to the grain, you get the different extraction or the temperatures, the enzymes. I mean, all of that, how it interacts and interplays is just, it's fascinating. I think that's what's continued to keep me hooked on.
That's what got me.
As a brewer is just, and how to tweak that. And especially when stuff doesn't go right. And then you have to go back and troubleshoot and figure out, okay, what is it in this long chain of interactions did I miss?
Yeah.
And figuring that out is frustrating, but it's still a lot of fun. It keeps me hooked.
Well, when you're pouring 10 barrels of finished product down the drain and you're
Well,
going through those notes,
it's a different.
You'll be glad you took notes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Where did this fuck up, and
Yeah.
why is it any different than the last time I made it?
I mean, I haven't had to pour a lot of batches out. I have, but I can't imagine having to pour a 10-barrel.
Yeah,
down
if
the drain.
you're not budgeting to dump some batches for the year, then you're not budgeting right. Because you can't sacrifice your name to put out a
quality
product
that you're putting out
that you're
there.
not happy with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's sad. It sucks.
From a novice, how much control after you've done the initial brew can you pull or push to get stuff back into line?
Temperature. You can. There's a couple things you can do depending on, because we taste them all the way through. Once it starts primary fermentation, we'll start tasting it, and you can tell if it's stressed, and you can pitch more, or you can add a nutrient if you really need to.
Yeah.
Because it's still in primary fermentation. There's a risk of opening the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do it other ways, like put it in a purge vessel and push it in, or whatever you have to do. And then you can change the temperature and control that. Depending on what the issue is.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I can't stand when I go to a brewery and they have a beer that was obviously off and they just threw a bunch of hops in it and to hide whatever was wrong.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We don't do that. I dumped 6 batches last year, and I've dumped 1 this year. So.
But I do think that there's something to be said. It happens to every brewery, whether you're big or small. I remember, every year Bourbon County Stout comes out and Goose Island released a batch and they had to refund a bunch of people because the bottle, it was just a bad batch, or
something happened.
Or
it happens to everybody.
It's a cost of. I mean,
it's the cost of doing business, but I think it speaks to the integrity of the brewery or the brewer to say, no, I'm not passing that. I'm not going to cover it up. I'm not going to.
Right.
It just
sucks.
Yeah.
Got to dump it. I'm not passing this on.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a level of integrity, and as painful as that is, that speaks to.
It's just not worth.
No.
It's not worth somebody trying it for the first time and thinking that that's your brand, or if it's a number of the batches we've dumped are flagship beers that aren't in line, and we figure out why, and we learn and keep trying to get better, but ultimately you throw it away.
Yeah.
It's
respect.
still humbling, though. I mean, I feel like it's humbling every time something goes wrong, and you're like, what the fuck happened? Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's a beer that, like you said, you could brew the same beer every time, but something just changed.
Yeah,
and you don't
something
know.
went different,
Yeah.
and it could be. I mean, there's 1,000 things it could be.
Yeah.
So there's to answer your question, there's some control.
Right.
You can recover. Brian Helton, one of the many gems he dropped in the path for me to pick up. You can teach anyone to brew. They can operate the equipment. They can make a beer to a recipe, but a brewer knows what to do when something's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I agree.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's awesome. So what was, as you were finally getting into, with your experience in the industry and you were working in brewing, and what finally triggered you to want to open your own?
Oh, I had known.
That was what you're
before
working
I took a
towards.
job. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started volunteering because I decided I wanted to open a place.
What was the trigger that finally said, I'm ready? Now is the time.
I don't know that I'm ready now.
I love that answer.
I met my business partner. We became fast friends. A lot of people think we're brothers. He works full time, so he's not on site ever. But we had passion. He loves the industry. He loves beer. We tried for years, and eventually things lined up, and we started looking at spaces. And alone, we got approved for an SBA, which was a shock.
Yeah.
We found a building that would let us lease, which was a shock. We almost landed just down the street, but they needed a lot more money and backing, which we didn't have.
Yeah.
And man, when we signed the lease, we weren't ready. You know, we knew we wanted it. We thought we were ready, but we weren't ready. So yeah,
Was it one of those, just you got to strike while the iron's hot? Like, this is a rare opportunity, and we're not quite ready yet, so we got to go for it and figure it out? Or
yeah,
I mean,
it was really. I hate to say that there wasn't a whole lot of confidence behind any of it, but there wasn't. You know, we thought like banks thought we were confident, which is great. But you take those leaps, and you just have to go for it. And we started the project, and we weren't even fully funded. So,
wow, that is such a leap of faith.
That is
to
a leap
jump
of
and
faith,
do that.
definitely.
I mean,
yeah.
wow.
And
That is
I mean,
really
it's worked
cool.
out.
Yeah.
But it's just back to first start of COVID, I brought a guitar in here and I sat in an empty tap room that, we struggled all year in 2019 to build out and get open and get approved, and
all those hurdles.
Just staring, I was thinking about everything we had to do to get this moving, to actually get it open.
Yeah.
And everyone has their problems and their struggles and their funding issues, and it was just wild. But yeah, I don't know that there was a time where I was like, green light.
There was no moment you're like, this is the time.
Yeah, there was no defining
It was
moment.
always
We just started.
take a chance.
We wanted to do it. Things lined up. We started doing it, and yeah, even still, I'm like, are we ready?
Oh, you're ready. Trust me, you're ready.
Yeah, we've had a lot of really cool support. The community's been great. The industry's been great.
I think the community in the industry is interesting compared to a lot of other industries that you can go into. I mean, from the outside, I hear a lot about, especially from a craft beer standpoint, you hear a lot about the collaboration and brewers kind of helping each other.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's a very competitive space and everyone's fighting for that same small, narrow piece of the pie, but
Yeah.
it's still a very cool collaboration.
Well, I've always been a supporter of the guild. I know I sit on the guild board right now, and I've always believed in being a community member that I would want to deal with.
Yeah.
I can't say officially, but I'm pretty sure we do more collabs than anyone else in the state, whether it be with other businesses or charities or whatever.
I have heard that, actually. You guys do a lot of collabs.
We do a lot of collabs.
Yes.
I have 2 in the tank right now.
What are
3. I have 3 in the tanks. I have 3 in fermentation. Well, 2 in fermentation, then the one
Can
we're
we
packing.
ask what they are?
Yeah, the Spinato's one.
Oh, that's right.
That we're packing.
Spinatos, yeah.
And then we've got a ALS Foundation beer fermenting right now that's releasing in May.
Wow.
And then we have a collab with Smeltertown that's coming out May 18th. That's coming out for the Clarksdale Beer Festival.
Wow.
But it's not uncommon to have. And I'm pulling off some of our American Pilsner and doing a collab with Dan the Pickle Man.
And
up in Cape Coral.
with the collabs you do you do the labels and everything like you do for the rest of your beers?
We learned during COVID that we can't release a beer without a custom label. The generic labels will get you by, and sometimes we do it because we have to, and we have some left over.
Yeah.
But the marketing is so much better, and our brand is kind of built on that, and so we won't release a beer without packaging.
I didn't realize the amount of work and story that goes into the labels of the beer, especially for Simple Machine. And I've seen some that are very colorful and they're eye-catching for and it's like, but when you really look deeper at it, especially the Easter eggs that you guys are putting out there on the labels, I mean, it's just the stories behind those are just, it really is a small community that is creating this along with, what you do. And it's really interesting. And it's so much more respect for because there's a lot of work that goes into the beer, right?
Sure.
But then the label and the packaging, that's like the final detail that goes on it. And I think sometimes that's missed. It's just more of throw it in a can and get it out, drink it, whatever.
And that's your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what communicates out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came up with, and this goes back to me working in organic food sales, because the company I worked for, you've probably never heard of. But they owned 55 brands, different companies. And those brands you've probably heard of.
Yeah.
But every new product launch, they would have their design teams come and get all of the package. Like if there's 7 items in the line, right? Like Arrowhead Mills was one of our brands. They're coming out with a new line of flavored breakfast cereals or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
And they'll get a design down that can change for each one, but has unique, like similar marketing on it. So maybe there's a shape that changes color for each one. So that
wow.
So that when they're in a block on an aisle, they're easily distinguishable because of the color change on each box.
Yeah.
But you can tell it's the same brand.
Right.
Right. So we took that same kind of mentality with this. We made a frame for our cans where we've got our logo, whoever we're collabing with, the government warning in one rectangle, the image. And we had a font designed by the same person that did our gear logo.
Yeah.
And we use that font generally. Sometimes we veer from it a little bit. But that block kind of font that we have. And then we've got the description, the sliders, and like our Arizona Guild logo and our Brewers Association.
It's a branded
logo, right?
format, a branded
So we just
layout.
take that frame and brand it to all these different beers. And they look different. They're easily distinguishable because
from each other.
Font color or whatever.
Yes.
But it's the same layout for each one. So when they're in a line, like Total Wine picked us up. So when you see our 5 brands at Total Wine next to each other, it looks great on a shelf.
Right.
And it looks great in a cooler. Each one is independent, but as far as marketing
But you can tell
goes,
it's the same brand, but you can also differentiate the cans from
easily.
The different. Yes. And that's sometimes tricky to do. I mean, for us, especially with YouTube and things, we have to differentiate the thumbnails on our videos. It's a different picture every single time, but there has to be some commonalities, some common themes, some common colors, something so that you can look at it and say, I know this is a different video, but I know it's coming from Ben Brewing. Like it's so I obviously what we do is way less complicated.
I disagree.
For the thumbnails, no.
What you guys are doing
is artful. It's amazing.
I'm gonna put JB on the spot though. JB, you must have some ideas that you could do for a label because he's one of the most talented artists.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You need to start thinking.
He is talented. I have some of his work printed on canvas in my house.
Yeah.
And now I want to buy that painting that you were working on.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's really good. So let's talk. Speaking of like the brand of the cans and that brand itself, let's talk about the brand of the brewery itself. So, what was the idea or the thought process with how you designed the space itself, with the colors, the lighting, and what was the idea?
When we looked at this space initially, it was Anthem Automotive.
Yes.
And there was a wall about where this wall is now, and this was a separate suite.
Yeah.
Which had a really nice office we hoped we could use, but we couldn't.
No. You are, but the barrels.
Yeah.
Are working.
Yeah, I had
They're
to
working their magic.
We tore everything out to a shell. This part was the waiting room.
Okay.
And it had a ceiling. I had a mezzanine above it that was full of trash. And we stripped everything out. But when we had 3 restrooms that I was hoping we could use too, but we couldn't. We had to tear everything out.
Ah.
But when I walked in, I saw all these windows and I always wanted the tap room to feel open,
Yes.
especially because we shifted from looking for from a standalone building or a cool older building to something in a strip like this, kind of the Southern California feel, where breweries started moving into industrial strips.
Yeah, right.
But the problem with those is they have maybe a window, like 8-bit.
Yes.
Great space, great beer in an industrial strip, but you walk in, you couldn't see brewery equipment, which was my number one. You needed to know you were in a brewery, which is
Yes.
why we had 2 custom glass doors
Yes.
built. From that front door, you can see through and see equipment.
Yes.
Because you need to know you're there.
Absolutely.
So that was really important to me, which is why we added those. A big bar, we needed a lot of, because people want to come in and sit in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
We laid out, I wanted to feature the windows, so we went with a darker color paint. We're discussing currently about repainting to sort of shake up.
Okay.
When we first took over, we didn't have a patio. We built that during COVID. They like loosened the restrictions on it.
Yeah.
So we actually started building that before we were approved to build it. There was like a berm and a dying tree out there, so this is much better. But that was my biggest thing is I wanted community space.
Yes.
And I wanted to be able to see that you were in a brewery, and I wanted it to feel comfortable and kind of industrial because it's an industrial space.
It is.
We had a lot of people, because it's called Simple Machine. This strip these buildings right here are known to be automotive.
Yeah.
So that was a problem for a while.
They come in looking for like repair.
Well, some people didn't like. Most people come in looking for food. They think it's habanero.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
It's Simple Machine. People drive past because they think it's an auto shop. But more and more, we're breaking away from that. The other thing, the tables. So all the high tops we built out of the wood that was in the ceiling of that office that I wanted to keep.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, that was a beautiful office.
That
wood was in the ceiling.
You couldn't see the wood, but that's
Oh,
I
you
wanted to
couldn't see it. Oh, okay.
all this stuff we tore out. I wanted to reclaim some of
it.
it, but everything on this side of the building was trash. But those 8x10s were awesome, great. So we cut them up and we made 6 round tables, 6 square tables.
Oh, wow.
And then we built the long tables because I always wanted kind of that beer garden feel.
Yes. Yes.
So we built an 8-foot, a 12-foot, and a 10-foot. That was the only new wood we purchased. Well, the tabletops we had to buy too. That's just particle board cut into strips, and glued together.
Yeah.
We built the bar top. The metal work was all done by a shop in the next building over, a father-son metal shop.
Really?
Yeah. So they did the metal, and we poured the epoxy.
Epoxy?
They did the beer garden gate, the fencing outside, the metal on the front of the bar, and then all the wood was the pallets that our tank shipped on, the wood that's on the front of the bar.
Oh, that's
awesome.
That's
And the
actually
trim.
very cool.
Plus some other ones we had to find because we needed more wood.
Yeah. Just repurposing all that.
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying.
Well, that's cool that it's with the system that shipped the wood. That it
Yeah,
came
those
in,
pallets are on the bar now.
history is incorporated into the bar itself.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I mean, even those shelves are built out of the crate that the doors that were supposed to be in there, because those were supposed to be reach-ins.
Oh, yeah?
The doors we bought are just slightly too big for the cutouts, so we didn't use them. But that's the crate that one of the doors was shipped in.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I didn't know that.
So really reused a lot of it. What was the first system that you got in? What were you brewing on when you first opened?
The 3-barrel?
The 3-barrel.
Yeah, that little 3-barrel I bought at Dubina.
That was Dubina. That's right.
Yeah, I bought it from them, and for a while it lived in my mom's living room. It's pretty funny.
You have a good mom, by the way.
Yeah. She's been very supportive.
Very nice lady.
I'm a mama's boy. Actually, I got a mom tattoo.
Deserving,
Aw.
definitely.
That's so cool.
She's got the same type of flower on her chest right here.
Oh, yeah? That's sweet.
Wow.
And her favorite color is lavender, so I had an airplane filled in for her.
That's pretty dope.
I'm a
So
mama's boy.
is that system still not at your mother's house, is it?
No.
Oh,
we
okay.
ran it here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then sold it to Fire and Fury.
That's right.
And then we bought this 10-barrel system, obviously used. It's old, and it's people look at me like, why the fuck did you buy that? Why wouldn't you get something new? It doesn't have any, it doesn't have flow meters, so there's a lot of math. It's all old valves. It's got a lot of copper piping. I like that. I like that about it. And I compare it to, you guys seen the movie Waterworld?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wasn't that the highest grossing movie that ever came about, or not highest grossing, the most expensive movie that ever
It flopped real bad.
it
Yes.
flopped real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame. I enjoyed it, but there's the opening scene where Kevin Costner's character is on that catamaran,
Yeah.
and he's like jumping all over the place and pulling these sails and turning these valves and shit. That's running our brew house. 'Cause you can't like run it from an iPad, and you can't just stand in one place because the way systems used to be designed. Like our control panels on the wall, I've got separate switches for our hot and cold liquor pumps. Hey, there's JJ Schroeder. What's up, buddy?
Hey, where's your bunny outfit?
He wore a onesie bunny outfit to my wedding. It was very fun.
That's funny.
It's so cool, like this local feel that you've got your like people coming in and out, and like I don't know.
Oh yeah, people pop in all the time, and I tell like people in the industry, people who run restaurants and bars and stores, if they need anything and they see my truck, come in. If they see Coley's car, my full-time brewer, if they see her car, come on, get in here, it's fine. Doors open.
That's great.
Bar might not be open, but beers are boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, our system is it's really hands-on, and I like that. I like that about it. And I make every brewer I train, I make them do long math by hand in pencil, so they understand everything about the process.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good basic to have. Yeah.
We stir by hand, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, everything manual. So speaking of teaching other brewers and things, Kitsune kind of got their start contract brewing out of here and learning a lot about it.
Yeah.
From you.
So I met Tyler. He approached me he was reaching out to local breweries to see if they were going to do the Black is Beautiful initiative. And he hit me up, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're the only one that said yes. I couldn't believe that.
Wow.
Which was weird.
Yeah.
I actually went to high school with his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a small world.
It's a really small world.
Yeah.
This fly's getting at us. So he came in, and we brewed that together with him. And I saw a huge amount of passion in him. And he had already been trying to get a place open. And prior to COVID, he almost signed something and almost got going, but held back.
Everything got shut down, yeah.
I really like Tyler. I liked his passion. I liked working with him. He's super funny, super jovial. And I approached him and I asked him if he had thought of contract brewing as a way to get moving, to get started.
Yeah.
Because we started doing collabs in kind of a similar fashion, just to get our name out and have beer available. And he was into it, so he bought a couple tanks. I plan to expand, so I put in 14 drops for tanks, and I had a bunch of open ones at the time. So he brought in two tanks, different sizes, like a 3 and a 7, or 3 and 5, or whatever. It was probably 7. Sorry, I can't remember Tyler. We brought him in, put him in place, and then I brewed for him for a year. For a full year, we were putting his batches through his tanks. Double batching in his bigger one and single in his small, because we were on a 3. And then he got his space going, and he had already been building his brand up, selling his beer out.
Yeah. He was self-distributing, wasn't he? I mean,
out of here,
right,
under my license.
Yeah.
And he was people started picking it up. He started getting his name out, which was really cool. That's what I wanted to see. If anyone comes to me with questions, I'll answer them. Like, I'll help anybody.
Yeah.
But Tyler really, we went above what I would normally do. And now I can't do it. We're at capacity. Like, I'm
so
full.
if you're looking, don't ask.
Yeah, I've got no open drops for you. Okay. So yeah, he pulled his tanks out when he got his space going, and we've done a bunch of collabs together. It's been a good time working with him.
Which I think is cool for the industry. Sorry, JB, go ahead.
His opening day was huge too.
He had 2 opening days.
Yeah, they were
or
both
soft
full.
opens, or
Yeah.
Yeah, because people knew his brand. He had been in market for a year. We ran a ton of cans for him. And because I tried to instill in him the value of having a good label, and he does the same thing. His labels are similar layout, different colors.
You can definitely tell it's his brand.
Yeah,
For sure, with all of his labels.
Yeah.
Yes.
For that reason,
So,
it's
yeah.
great. And over kegs because he bought some of his own cooperage to sell out and market too. And if breweries own their kegs. A lot of people don't know that. And when you send a keg out, don't expect to see it for 6 to 12 weeks.
Right. Then there's your investment
yeah.
floating out there that you can't
Yeah,
use.
we own over 600 kegs.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
and I might have 150 in hand right now.
Wow.
And probably only like 14 of those are clean and ready to fill, yeah, because they're all out in market.
Yeah.
But on a can, you put your marketing and you can put links to your social media. We started putting QR codes with charity groups. We'll put QR codes to their landing pages. And it goes out to market. It's in somebody's hand, and you don't need it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep track of it.
Yeah.
So,
do you think there's a trade-off? Because I know when you're putting stuff in keg, the margins are a little bit better when you're putting stuff out versus canning, but there's that trade-off of your.
I would argue the opposite. My margins are a little bit better in cans.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Because of the investment in the keg, or
quantity. Like people,
Quantity.
you get a quantity discount basically.
Okay.
We don't make a whole lot of money on any of it, but that's small business.
Yes.
We're operating. But
well, and brewery is an industry of scale. And
Right, yeah.
The bigger you go,
Totally
the better
is.
it is, and it's hard to.
yeah. I can't go into distribution on a 10 barrel like how we're set up now.
Right.
There's just no way I can take that hit with distribution. But packaging is definitely the way to go, which
Well,
is why
especially-
we hit it so hard. We still package almost 40% of what we produce.
Oh wow. Well, especially like you said, your marketing's on there, your brand's on there, and once it
Yeah.
goes out, you're not waiting for it to come back.
Right, and that benefited Tyler, to your point. Like when he had his
Yeah.
opening, people already knew his brand. People
Yeah.
were excited about it. He had like 3,000 Instagram followers before he even opened his doors.
That's
You know?
wild.
Yeah.
Because he was
yeah.
been promoting his brand for a year, and,
Yeah.
and people had it. People
Yeah.
could try it. People had it in their hand. But yeah, we brewed for a full year. We made his product, and I'm happy for him.
I also feel like he's one of those guys that reminds me a lot of Arizona Wilderness and Jonathan Buford, and then like the Stone and like
Yeah.
Greg Koch. Like he's a personality, so I feel like a lot of it
He is
is,
a-
or
he's a
even
big
Helton,
character, yeah.
even Brian Helton, I think was very good about taking Instagram or Facebook photos, and it was like a whole
Yeah.
kind of brand, and he was amazing, but it was like he was basically marketing himself as the brand. So I don't know if that helps, but there's
He put
definitely
his name on it.
Right. Yeah.
I met Aaron at Elton too. Is everything all right? Everything all right? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh, okay. Will you pour me a beer? Will you pour me an I don't know?
I love the name on that.
I will say that's my favorite beer. That's
Well,
amazing.
yeah, because he gets a lot of people. They'll come up to his bar too, even though he says, I don't know all the fucking time. If somebody comes up and he's like, what can I get for you? And they're like, I don't know. And they're like looking at the list.
He's like, okay,
I got you. Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's one of those
Yeah.
punny names.
Yeah, but it works though.
It's fun.
And it's fun with the marketing and the cans and the labels and everything. It just
Yeah.
it's such a complete package of everything.
I actually bought a bike here.
When it was the
When it was the
motorcycle
bike
When it
shop?
was the motorcycle shop, I actually bought a bike.
That's fun.
I
dude.
love you,
That's
JB.
crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because it was a cabinetry shop at the second suite, and then it was a motorcycle shop, and that's the office we built our chairs out of.
was good.
So you were in that office.
Yeah, I was in the office once.
Could you pour 2 more of the I don't knows?
He's
I'm
like,
sorry, you're resting.
we're
and
putting
I'm
you to
like,
work today.
He owns a bar. He can do it. We need 2 of them, though. You only took 1 glass.
That's good too.
Thank you.
That's definitely my style of beer. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
I like
know.
this beer a lot. Yeah. We started making it for him as like his house IPA.
It's really good.
And we did with the first one, Brian Helton always told me it takes 3 tries to get your recipe right. And this was right on the second one. The first one didn't have any caramel malt in it, and then they wanted a little bit darker.
Yeah.
So we just added a little bit of caramel.
Okay.
It's 7.221%. You actually can't measure it that accurately, but it's
Well,
It's-
math and rounding.
yeah. And it's what's it called when it's the reverse anagram of 1227.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another thing we do on a lot of our cans. We'll match the ABV and the IBU to things that matter about whatever the beer is.
Okay.
So, like we do a collab with Mountain Rescue Organization once a year,
pass it on down.
And they're a volunteer group that
Thank you so much.
rescues stranded hikers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they were founded in 1969, so it's 6.9%.
Oh.
Ah,
Wow.
Okay.
That's cool.
That is very cool.
That's really cool.
I Don't Know has 86 IBUs because he gets 86 from bars.
That's awesome.
A lot of Easter eggs, yeah.
That's awesome. So, sorry, I'm circle back on my question.
Yeah,
so, obviously with any small business, or you're always having to adapt and change, and supply chain issues and the shift in market, and what do you see any potential challenges or things for craft beer in the next year, 2 years, as far as shifts in preference or taste or supplies, or
Not that can't be
be
overcome or adapted to. Everyone is adjusting to raising, right, like the rise of price.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Raw materials have just gone up consistently. Beer is just becoming more expensive.
Yeah.
I think
like
that
everything else.
My biggest
That is really good.
Yeah, I told you. That's my favorite so far.
payroll is everyone's largest expense, I think, and
Yes.
that continues to rise too. And we try to take care of our people, but when our margins go down because of the cost of materials is rising.
To make adjustments.
Well, it's a battle on all fronts. I mean,
Yeah, it's a constant adjustment, constant analysis, and you just have to determine where you can cut and what you can take the hit on, just to make sure that you're taking care of your people enough, and you're still producing a quality product. But I think that would be the biggest concern economically for breweries anyway. I mean,
I think it's a lot of hats to wear, because as the brewer, you can't just be focused on, and the owner, you can't just be focused on the beer that's coming out. You've obviously got the responsibilities of the payroll plus the market, keeping the customers happy. Like, there's so many different hats that you have to have on as.
Don't open a brewery if you want to make beer all the time.
Right.
Go be a brewer.
Yes.
Don't open a small business if you want
Right.
sanity.
I think that's something noble in the pursuit of a small business, and being able to overcome those challenges. Though, as hard as it is, and as many hours as it is, there's a, and again, I can't speak to it because I don't own a brewery, so talking out of my ass here. But there's something, I think, noble in being able to overcome those challenges and to say, yeah, I did it better than the next guy, or this is a place where people want to work, or this is a people where people enjoy coming to join the community.
Yeah, those things really do make it worth it.
Yeah.
I would never be able to do this alone. I've had a ton of support from friends and family, and my partner is amazing. I mean,
she's good on the seamer.
We were,
yeah. My wife,
she's good. My wife took time off to come package today because my team is in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So, and Aaron's here. My friend Aaron is here helping me because I roped him into it. And because he likes being paid in beer. Because we've survived on teamwork and people helping us. But when there's a full bar and music's playing, people are having a good time. We've had like 3 instances where people were over like drunk and we had to deal with it in 4 years.
And that's it.
Because people just have a good time.
Yeah.
We do fun events. We try to be part of the community. That's what makes your hair turning gray worth it. I mean, look at Aaron. When I met him, he had a really dark head of hair. And he was like, I'm going to open a bar. Now he's a silver fox.
It's awesome. I like when you guys have the food trucks here too. I think that's pretty cool. It keeps the whole community in.
In my original business plan that I wrote in 2014, we were going to have a small food concept. And then eventually my partner and I were like, dude,
it's a lot.
I've never even worked at a restaurant. Why the fuck am I adding food to this?
It's a whole lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that I didn't want to deal with. in following more of that model of Southern California going into industrial space, they all just bring in trucks. And that's another small business. And those are people who are pursuing a dream. And we can help each other out.
That's a good partnership, I think.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
And during COVID, food trucks stopped charging minimums, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because no one was going to pay them a minimum
Right.
to come and set up,
Yeah.
right? But they also made a bunch of money during COVID.
Yeah.
I had food trucks during
Nothing
COVID,
else was open.
and people would come and get beer and food and go home.
Yeah.
But now we do it. We schedule them 5 days a week, and it's mutually beneficial. And even if there was a minimum, we're crushing it every time there's a truck there. You know, our tap room is busy enough during happy hour to.
Is there a
there's no worry.
specific rotation of the food trucks, or is it kind of vary every week, or it just kind of depends?
It varies all the time
It
for
does.
us. We
Okay.
work with like 12 to 15 on a pretty regular schedule, some more than others just because of their availability. And then, you know, seasonally, some leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll go up north. So we, you know, we'll swap some new ones in. And if there's a new truck that comes along, we'll try them out.
Give it a try.
Yeah. If you cancel on us too many times, we won't schedule anymore.
I was going to ask, how reliable?
The ones we work with now are
They're pretty reliable.
Yeah. We've weeded through some.
But you
in the
have
past.
enough flexibility, enough options out there where if someone's
Yeah.
not going to be reliable, you can say thanks but no thanks and
Yeah.
build up a good
Exactly. I mean,
relationship with the ones that are reliable.
Yeah. You just have to be reliable.
The
Yeah.
pizza one you guys had a couple weeks ago. was
Cheesies?
Oh my
Cheesies
god.
is
that was
great. But
so good.
he's going.
Our resident foodie right here.
So good.
No, I love that. Yeah, those guys are great. They fucking bring a TV and set it up so they can watch the games while they're
Wow.
cooking outside. Their
Oh, that's
pizzas are
awesome.
awesome, but they're going up to Payson for the summer. So
Okay.
they have 2 more dates here, I think, before they're gone. So come you get some pizza.
I'll come get some
You'll
pizza
have to come
for
back
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Let me know
they're
when
just
those
and they're
dates
just
are. I'll
cool
come
guys.
too.
I'm a pizza addict.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
We did a collab with B&G Chicago Catering. That's the pickle sour that's pouring right now.
Okay.
So he brought in a bunch of pickle juice, and we used it in this hour.
That's awesome.
That was for our anniversary in January, and then for the same anniversary release, we have a Sweetly Bakery. She comes and sets up and does like baked
met
goods for
her,
special
actually.
events.
She's
She's
really
awesome. We did the Totally Sweet Stout with her.
Okay.
Her
that's
flagship
so
cookie
cool.
is like what we kind
Wow.
of tried to mimic. And she had actually a really sweet story I want to share real quick. We're friends with her and her husband, but they came in a few weeks ago, and she pulled me aside and she's like, I just want to share that since we've done a collab, there is a noticeably large intake of business for the bakery, and I attribute that to this collab because we drew her on a label and we put her information on it, and we had her here for 2 or 3 days set up selling when we released it. She still comes and sets up all the time because we'll let her. But it was really sweet of her to say that because that's the reason that we do
the
this.
collabs. It's
Yeah.
mutually beneficial, but to have that big of an impact, that's very cool.
And I hope the same impact is happening with all of our charities. That was the reason we do it with charities, is to
Right.
to expose it to people that wouldn't otherwise know it exists.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people. We work at Ellie's Foundation. We have that beer right now. A lot of people don't even know what that is. I lied. I have another collab that's in the tank right now. So if you're in our mug club, we have a mug club party every year, and we do a raffle. And one of the things was design a beer, and then pick a charity. And Gabe Smith, one of our members, won. Really cool dude. He's been a mug member for a few years. He wanted to do a sour IPA, so that's in the tank right now. And he picked Child Crisis of Arizona, which a lot of people don't know exists, right?
Yeah.
And then when he told Frank, my partner Frank, Frank adopted 2 of his kids from Child Crisis years ago.
Wow.
When they were under 10, they were like 7 and 8, his son and daughter. And it really kind of brought it all full circle. And then we told them that, and they reached out to Frank, and they got a story and update on the kids. And
Wow.
so that beer is going to be coming out in May too.
That's awesome.
Fuck, I got too many collabs going.
I kind of want to reach out to our mutual friend Tim Welch because I think that'd be really cool because he owns Branded Bills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really awesome for you guys to do some kind of
Yeah.
beer/hat collab.
So, yeah, Goodfellas merch. You guys familiar with them? Joe and Jana.
Mm-mm.
They do all of our printing and embroidery. good friends of mine. He's a home brewer too, and we've done 2 collabs with him. And we release a shirt at the same time we release the beer, and he does design, so he's done those labels. But that was fun to do.
That's really cool, especially some of the collabs you do that have such a massive impact, way far reaching beyond the brewery and you know, the person you're collabing with.
We always wanted. It was in my business plan to work with small business and charities. I've always wanted to do that, and we've taken it to like totally different levels. You know, like collabing and brewing beers with like proprietary beers for bars or golf clubs. My bartender Vanessa used to work for Paradise Valley Country Club, and because of her, we made 2 proprietary beers for them.
Nice.
We've worked with. I can't even rattle off the charities we've worked with. We've brewed with local musicians, which has been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And then we have them come and play for releases, and that's coming up again too. I'm pretty excited about that one.
When is your reunion with your group, your band?
I'm so out of practice.
Joe's Grotto. Fire and Fury.
Yes,
What's
Fire and
happening?
Fury. Yes, we'll call Mikey. We'll call Mikey Blue Eyes.
But,
Let
musicians,
him know you're coming.
Merch groups. You know, we've worked with them. Other breweries, we love to do that.
Yeah.
It's just wild what we can do. You know?
It's crazy too. This neighborhood or this area is kind of blown up, and we appreciate all local Arizona breweries, but I think North Phoenix, North and the West Valley is kind of like our focus because that's where we're located.
Yeah.
So it's just so cool. I feel like I remember going to San Diego or different places. You could stumble upon different breweries, and I feel like that's what this area has become. Like there's so many great breweries, all like stumbling
distance.
within stumbling distance,
Literally stumbling.
yeah, for me at least. But yeah.
Yeah, they're popping up.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. Yeah.
I talk too much.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No.
When I give
No.
tours at the brewery, I'll preface the group and let them know I will ramble deeper than you want to know, and I will not be offended if you just raise your hand.
Which you are not rambling.
And tell me that you're no longer interested.
You're not
No,
rambling.
I'm not rambling at all.
Especially
no.
if somebody asks a question, then I'll just go down this rabbit hole of like trying to explain everything.
Yeah.
100-foot view description of a tour in my brewery doesn't necessarily exist if I'm the tour guide.
That's okay.
Kind of like this.
No, we love this. This has been
is
nice.
really good.
This has been really, really nice.
Yeah.
No, we
Enjoyed it.
appreciate
I
it.
just want to share information.
No,
and
we love it.
overall, I'm really proud of everything we've done.
You should be.
You should be. No, there's a lot to be proud of.
It's hard to sit back and look at it from anyone else's perspective because I just see what needs to be fixed and improved and changed and what I need to do. You know. We built this place by hand. You know, my general contractor was a friend, so any work we could do, I did.
Yeah.
I hung the dividers in the bathroom.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
I think coming from it's a blood, sweat, and tears and a very humble perspective.
Yeah,
on things.
necessity breeds inspiration, right?
That's awesome.
Which is true, but you're not. You know, it's you're not too good to do this stuff yourself, and not like I can't do it. No, I'm gonna make this happen no matter what.
Yeah.
There's.
I'll be the one to pull the fucking snus packets out of the urinal.
The-
I'm not gonna make my bartenders do it.
That's awesome.
The urinal mints. Yeah.
You know, I've learned a lot of good skills.
Yeah.
Working here.
Yeah.
The University YouTube
University of YouTube is amazing.
has helped me build a brewery that functions mostly.
Mostly. No, functions well.
Well enough.
Yes. No, but it is good. It's all good. We appreciate it very much.
No.
You allowing us
Well,
to come in and interrupt your day, and
I actually planned the whole day around doing this. So
I know, and we appreciate that.
no,
he actually flew back from a beer
from
conference
Vegas. Yeah, from Vegas last night.
yesterday. He did a turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to spend the night, so I could. Well, mostly I didn't want to spend the night because I don't like to spend nights away from my wife. But
Oh. We need you on all the time.
We have the
reaction.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get a fifth mic somehow on here.
yeah,
We don't
No,
have
that's
to
the
push the
thing,
laugh button.
and I just I announce that to people I work with, and like I work with Andrew from Cano, and I'm the trainer, so when we have to go out of town, he's always like, if it's a cool spot, he's like, you want to stay an extra day in Chuck's? No, I don't.
No. I go home.
I want to go
Come
home.
back.
home.
I have
That's
made him We drove to California to Laverne Brewing Company bought a line. We left early and drove back the same day because I didn't want to be gone for the night.
Wow.
And you have the very first cano machine.
I have number
Yeah.
1, 001,
Yeah.
serial number 001.
Wow.
That was neat to see. And I appreciate you letting us come in and kind of take a look at that.
Yeah,
So we'll
for
get
sure.
that kind of put together. We'll talk to Andrew, kind of the inventor of the cano, and kind of piece some stuff
Andrew's
together.
he came to Vegas with me yesterday.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I was there on Cano's dime because we were checking out the.
Yeah, that works,
Convention
man. Do what
center,
you gotta do.
Did he
yeah,
make
he's-
it back, or I mean, is he still there? or-
He fell asleep on the plane coming back.
Okay.
I should have been asleep instead of saying the fuck word too many times and having the flight attendant ask me to stop.
Excuse me, sir.
He told me when I was getting off the plane. He's like, you got to be careful. Your voice carries her. Fuck that. No, I'm just kidding. I actually apologized to him and the old lady in front of me that was offended. So
That's funny.
I'm not proud of it. But well, I mean, I was talking like I'm talking now.
Right.
It's not like
That's hilarious.
I'm sorry. I just have a male flight attendant voice in my head. Sir, your voice carries. Like, that's what's in my head. I'm like, oh, sorry.
yeah. Well, and I don't know if he was really. I don't think he was bothered because he didn't seem to be.
It was all the rest of the children
No,
leaving
it
Vegas.
was one particular lady in front of me, an
Ah.
older lady that didn't like hearing me talk to Eric Walters.
Say enough. I'm just kidding.
I guess, so I apologize to her too. As we were walking, it's not like she could get away from me. I got off right after she did. So
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm really fucking sorry.
That's
It's really
damn,
bad.
I should have said that.
I feel really fucking bad.
No, I gave her a sincere apology.
I mean, I feel fucking awful about that, and I just want you to know, shit, I won't do that again.
I'll never fucking do that again.
That's awesome.
I opened a business. One of the main reasons was I didn't want to work for people I couldn't respect, and I didn't want to cover my tattoos in the corporate world anymore.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to. The thing I love about small business, if you can imagine it and you want to do it, you can find a way to do it.
Yeah.
It may be really fucking hard, but you can do it.
But you can do it.
You're gonna inspire us, bro.
Yeah, and one of the things I don't want to fucking do is watch what I say. I'm gonna swear. It's
Yeah.
just gonna happen.
Yeah.
Bill Burr has a great skit about it. Check it out.
I love Bill Burr. He's
Oh
one of
God.
my
Yeah,
favorites.
So many good things.
Dude, he's
Bits that he does.
amazing.
Yes.
But
Quick twitch.
Yeah, I don't. I know my audience generally. I should
Right.
have known on the plane, apparently.
This morning, Brian was like, "Good morning," and I'm like, "Are you ready to fucking do this?" And he's like, "Holy shit!"
This was in a text. I'm like, good
All in
morning.
caps.
All caps came back. You ready to fucking do this? I'm like,
Yeah, brother.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, capital letters mean
let's
yelling,
just-
right?
I'm
Yeah,
ready. I'm
let's
ready
just-
to fucking go.
Let's dial that back a little. It's 5:30. Let's dial it back.
Yeah. This devolved quickly.
This is what it does.
This is what it
This
just
is
happens.
what it
It just
does,
happens,
and
yeah.
we're okay with it.
On
No,
my
this is what
second
it
beer,
does.
we're in good shape.
Friends.
You should pick some of your favorite guests, maybe like me and Eric,
Just as a hypothetical.
I know.
and do an episode where we interview you guys, just so people understand your background and what you have to go through. Plus, Eric and I are like great personalities. So,
Oh,
just
yeah. Fuck
The
yeah.
best. Yeah.
well, we did simple sessions. Eric and I did simple sessions for a while.
Dude, I love
we'll-
both of you guys.
We'll
man.
pick it back up.
For sure.
But,
No,
but no, you should do that.
That'd be fun.
that would
cool.
be so fun.
Just
Yeah.
a thought, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna drop these gems. You guys
I
pick
like
them
it.
up if you want them.
Yeah. No, I like it.
That would be so fun.
It'd be kind of weird being on the other side of the mic, though.
Well, that's
Well, it'd
how
be your
Eric
mic,
felt.
but
Yeah. Well,
but it would. I think that would be kind of interesting.
that could be
'cause-
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been doing this a while, and
I mean, why the fuck not?
people need to know your story too.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the Hot Break Craft Beer Cast. We appreciate you so much for tuning in. A huge thanks to Marshall and all of his insight and conversation for today. It's been a lot of fun coming in and actually getting into the brewery, and we got to shut things down because they're about to open the floodgates and people start pouring in here, so we got to get out of the way but we're definitely happy to be here. We appreciate it. We'll definitely have to come back. If you'll have us, we would be honored if that would
Anytime.
happen.
Anytime.
We love it. Catch you later, my friends.